Okay, so welcome to the Tandem Industry Academia Professor Call Info. My name is Petro Poutonen and I am the CEO of the foundation. In the next hour or hour and a half, we'll be sharing some of the basic information about the application process and the call with you. We will then answer your questions and there will be time for discussion afterwards. So the call has actually opened just today, and on our website you can find more information under the section Open Calls. Then just find the section called Tandem Industry Academia Professor 2023. There are all the instructions and link to the actual application form. But next, our Research Impact Officer, Outi Vanharanta, will be telling you about the application process and criteria. So here you go, Outi.
Thank you, Petro, and good morning and welcome to this information event also on my behalf. As Petro said, I will introduce the funding model and then the application process, after which we will have plenty of time for your questions. And feel free to submit questions also through the chat functionality and by using the hand-raising feature of Zoom. But first to the introduction. So what is Tandem Industry Academia Professor funding actually about? So the main idea and objective of the funding is to allow professors to focus on advancing their research in collaboration with an industry partner, a company. And for the professor, this is a great opportunity to develop networks, get access to data and processes, and generate understanding of topical research problems in the industry. And for the industry partner, this is similarly an excellent opportunity to broaden networks with the academia and get access to top-level knowledge and research insights related to industry-relevant problems. But like any funding, this is also subject to certain rules and requirements that are outlined here. First, the projects that are funded should be pre-competitive projects, which means that they are explorative, early-stage research, and the results should be public and useful for the industry more broadly. And the project should be constructed on the basis of a genuine collaboration that benefits both parties and also that it has the potential for broader impact. And second, the funding is paid out to the academic organization with which the professor remains in an employment relationship throughout the project. And what is required already at the application stage is a committed industry partner who provides the professor the necessary workspace and research facilities and contributes other in-kind resources, for example, data or some materials needed in the project. And the TIA funding, it covers the professor's salary costs and other costs for 12 months, spread over a maximum of 3 years. And during the funding period, the professor may spend periods of varying length at the industry partner's other offices or places of business, whatever is required for the project. And then a few words about eligibility. So who is eligible to apply for this funding? So an applicant is eligible if they work in a professorial position in a Finnish university or governmental research institute. And this is dictated by the rules of our foundation. So we are only allowed to fund these types of organizations. And the professorial position, it refers to all stages of the career path model. And of course, other positions are also considered, such as research director. And this is because people may work in senior positions in research institutions where they are effectively working at a level corresponding that of a professor. But these are then assessed by the foundation on a case-by-case basis. And if you have any doubts, please contact us to check your eligibility. It's important, however, to note that this is an employment role. So, for example, a docent-style affiliation with a university does not confer eligibility. And as to the industry partner, the applicant should not have a significant connection with the industrial host, such as board membership or ownership more than 5% of the company. All right, let's move on to the application process itself. So first, the written applications are submitted via the application system by October 15th, following the guidelines described on our website. And the industry partner has another 7 days to submit their form after the application deadline. And the applications are reviewed by the foundation, which will then consult outside reviewers if necessary. And what is taken into consideration is the academic quality of the research and the potential impact of the project on business and industry more broadly. And then the second stage of the application process involves interviews with applicants who are shortlisted based on the first stage applications. And guidance on how to prepare for the interviews will be sent separately to those who are invited to the second stage. And these guidance will be sent out during week 43. And the interviews themselves will take place face-to-face in Helsinki on 13th and 17th of November. And the final decisions are made in early December. So the second stage applicants will be informed of the final decisions then. Now we can take a look at the actual website. So on the foundation's website, as Petra already mentioned, you will find a link to the call, the description of this TIA professor call. And there you will find a link to a more broader call text, and with a link to the instructions, more detailed instructions on how to apply. And we encourage you to read the instructions carefully. And at the end of the guidelines, there is a link then to the online application system, which contains the application form itself. And it's quite similar to any funding application system that you are probably very familiar with. And this screenshot is from the login page of the application system. Here you can you should first create an account for the application system if you don't already have one, and then of course log into and access the application form. Surrounded here with the red circle are two things to note. The blue button, it takes you to the so-called pre-application questionnaire with which you can test your eligibility to apply for funding. And the greenish button below, from there you can download the full application form in PDF format in case you want to familiarize yourself with the content of the form before you start filling it in the system. And please note, however, that the business partner form that I mentioned earlier, and which is then filled by the industry partner, it cannot be downloaded here, but all the questions and information and required attachments are described in the application instructions on our website. So you are able to view what is required from the industry partner there. All right. And then this is basically the application process and the whole funding model in a nutshell. We have one example here of an ongoing TIA professor project, which we funded last year. And this project explores the effects of soil improvement fibers that are produced by soil food. And they're looking at its effects on soil structure and water conductivity in collaboration with Jari Hyväluoma from the National Resources Institute. And here the collaboration, it benefits both parties. The industry partner Soil Food gains immediate access to research results for their product development and also for communicating externally about their business, while Professor Hyväluoma is then able to apply his research expertise in this practical context and generate new practical knowledge also about these processes. And here the industry representative is particularly excited about the opportunity to, through this type of basic research, to address sustainability challenges more broadly, including climate change, disruptions in the water cycle and biodiversity loss, or contribute to these issues. So it's not solely about product innovation, but also about changing practices more broadly. So here we have a great example of a project with academic relevance for the industry partner, but also more broadly for the industry and the society. And there are other examples also that can be found at our website, so you can familiarize yourself with those if you're interested. And now we will move on to the questions and answers. We will first cover these that some of you submitted when registering for this session. Thank you for submitting the questions. So here the first one is, has the industrial collaboration company to be an entity in Finland, or can it be an entity in other countries like France or Germany? Well, the industrial partner can be an internationally operating company, but it should have relevant activities in Finland and be registered here to be a partner in this project. So yes, operations in Finland and registered in Finland is a requirement for the industry partner. Then the other question submitted in advance, is an international collaboration network needed for the TIA professor, and does it enhance the chances of acceptance of the application? Well, of course, the professor may have international networks, and we encourage you to mention these in the application. The applications, however, they are assessed as a whole, and the most important thing is a good match between the partners, the professor and then the industry partner, and the expected impact of the collaboration. And moving on to the third, is this call open for full professors, and can the one-year term be split between 2 consecutive years? Yes, so it is also for full professors, and the funding will cover 12 months salary and other expenses, and it can be spread over 3 years according to the research plan. In general, how many applications are funded in one call, and what is a typical number of applications per call? Well, last year, which was the first year of TIA professor funding, we received 16 applications and we funded 6 professors. And final question here, is there limitation about the size of the company? Can it be a startup? The company can be a startup, but it's important that the company must have credible resources at its disposal to be able to then provide the required resources for the professor's research. So that's important. But other than that, we don't have any limitations regarding the company size. All right, thank you. This was the presentation, and now we have covered the questions that were sent in advance, and now we can move on to your questions, and I will give the floor now to Petro. You will probably, did you already stop the recording?